Today I'm going to go over some tips and guidelines that I've come up with to help people choose an aftermarket discrete video card. I'm going to show you how to find a video card online and how to find out if it'll play the game that you want to play or games and if it'll work with your computer or not. Okay, so let's say you get online and you're looking for video cards, you're shopping, and you find one that you like. Now you're probably going to be shopping by budget. This is how I tell people to buy video cards. Always shop by budget. So let's give a budget of $75 to $100. Now, I don't know if you know what Newegg.com is. You see me going here. This is a fantastic site to get computer hardware from. Another good one is ncix.com. And even Amazon is pretty decent. Of course, Tiger Direct is another place, but personal favorite of mine is Newegg. Okay, so here you find a card that you think you like, a 6670. It's in your budget, and it's got a great review. But will it play the game that you want to play? So you need to find out. You can go here and search game system requirements and find a site that's going to show you what system requirements specific games need. So my personal favorite site for this would be gamesystemrequirements.com. How catchy. Alright, this will give you all these options as you can go through A through Z, 0 through 9. So I want to find out if that video card here will play Call of Duty Black Ops. So we're going to go to C for Call of Duty and then find Black Ops. Now it might not be this easy if you have some weird named game. You can just go to the search and type it in, but it was easy because Black Ops is right here. So you're going to find VGA, which is the video card, and see what it requires. Now you see for the ATI AMD Radeon, which is the same chipset as this card, this is something key that you have to focus on, is that it is in ATI. Where does it say ATI? It does not say. Here it is, AMD. Okay, so AMD bought out ATI. So if it says AMD, it's comparable to an ATI. So we're going to be needing to beat this video card, an X1950 Pro, in order to play this game. So you have no idea what this card is capable of doing, whether it beats it or not. You need to find out. Go to Google again. Type in video card benchmarks, and you're going to get, a list of stuff here. Now my suggestion is that you go to the Passmark link and go down here to your search for a video card. Click this. Now you're going to need to find the card. Hopefully you'll have a good browser that you'll be able to just go up here, edit, find, type in the number 6670. This is the video card that we're looking at once again, and you see here that it highlighted it for me, so I can click that and it takes me to the chart where it shows you how it compares to other video cards. So this card scores a 1263 in Passmark. We need to beat a X1950 Pro, so we can use this little thing again, X1950 space Pro. Here we are. So it scores an 825, obviously getting stomped on by the 6670. So we know that this card here will play Black Ops. Maybe not maxed out, but it will play. So check one. You found a video card in your price range that'll play the game you want to play. Now the question is, will it work on your computer? Okay, so now this is where it can get a little tricky. You have to find out whether the graphics card itself will even run in your computer. And this comes down to three key things: interface, power supply, and computer case. The first thing I'm going to go over is interface. Real quick, I'm just going to show you this motherboard. And here's a picture. This picture shows you PCI Express. Now that is 16 times AGP and PCI. Back to the motherboard. You can see that there is only PCI Express 16 times and PCI. That is because you do not find PCI Express and AGP on the same motherboards. At least I only know of one. I actually did. I found one that had both. But more often than not, you're going to have just this. It's very rare to have both. This slot you see here is PCI Express 1 times, and it does have a few video cards for it, but it's such a bad interface for video cards that I won't even go over that at all. Just going to totally bypass that and talk about the ones that really do support any significance of a video card. So over here is a motherboard from an old Dell XPS, and it has an AGP slot on it right here. Just wanted you to see that. This is actually an abnormal AGP slot, and that is because it does not have a divider in the middle. There's no pin in there, and it doesn't have a tab on the back, which is what most AGP slots have. AGP has a lot of resemblance to PCI Express 16 times, but they are not exactly alike. And I'll go ahead and show you the cards now. This is an AGP card. You can see the little pins there. And then this is a PCI Express card. They are distinctly different, as you can tell. And then this is a PCI card. Now the PCI and the PCI Express are similar because they are both PCI based, but there's obviously differences there. The PCI Express has this tab right here, and PCI has either two dividers or else the only divider it'll have is here. So if it doesn't have that divider, then it will have that divider, whereas PCI Express only has that divider at any time. But yeah, that's about it as far as interface goes. You just got to make sure your motherboard has the right plug. Before I go on to the power supply requirements, I'm just going to go quickly on case ventilation is what it's about. The computer case is sometimes a key player because if you look at this computer case and you see that it is a micro ATX tower, which means it's smaller than normal. It is the small end of the ATX towers. It only has one case fan, and I guess you could put one in the front. It doesn't really have the mounting holes for it, but it does have like just air holes, so you could like rig something up if you wanted to mod it. That's just getting a bit too techy for most people. So fact is, this has one spot for a fan. Other than the power supply, there's only one fan that's going to exhaust. So if you get a video card like this, which is passive cooling, does not have a fan on it, it's going to sit down here in the bottom and collect all this heat, this plume of hot air down here, and it's going to have a high chance of overheating. That is why whenever I use a video card with this computer, I use this one. And it's convenient because it's got that blower style fan, so it also works as an exhaust fan because it takes the hot air from the tower and it blows it across the heatsink and out the back of the computer. But another key part is not only the heat about cases that you want to keep in mind. You have to have good ventilation because you don't want your computer to overheat, but size. Let's take a look at this GTX 460. Okay, this thing is like, look at that. Like it's the majority of the case. I don't know if I could actually plug that in. I guess I could, but it would be really tight clearance. It fits just barely though. But say for example this was a mid-sized tower case, right? And mid-sized towers always have their normally they always have their hard drive cages come all the way down. And if that were the case, this video card would not fit because it would surpass that hard drive cage and it wouldn't fit in there. So you do have to keep that in mind. Some of the larger video cards you have to look up the dimensions on because the big ones won't fit in all the cases. And that's not even a very big card, that's just a mid-size. So if you have a tower like this and you have a hard drive cage that comes all the way down there, you're not going to be running pretty much anything bigger than this. So keep that in mind. Finally, I'm going to talk about power supplies. So before I get into them real in depth, I'm just going to go over one quick thing, and that generalization is power and quality. When it comes to power supplies, you want to get as many watts as you can. If you can afford it, go ahead and get that extra 200, 300 watts. Get the big boy power supply, and you won't regret it later because having the more wattage allows you to upgrade. It also allows you to use it in your next computer if you really need it. So, you know, if you can afford it, get those extra watts. You won't regret it in the end. Power supplies you can't go overkill on. Having a better power supply is always a good thing. Then you have quality. You don't want to buy some cheap little $20 power supply because they often do not have the components in place that were, if it were to short circuit, it could take your motherboard, graphics card, processor, and RAM down with it, and possibly even your hard drive. So you don't want to get a cheap power supply and risk your other components. Now granted, that is rare that it dies on you like that, but it does happen and you don't want to be the person that it happens to. Now, with that said, if you're looking for a power supply that's just enough for what you need, I have made this formula for you to go by. Now, this technically isn't really my formula in that I got a lot of the math from online stuff, but you know, if you did research, you'd figure this stuff out on your own. But this is basically a sum just for, you know, beginners to say, okay, I can go by this and get what I need. This formula will always work no matter what you're using. If you have these requirements met, your computer will have sufficient power. And if somebody doubts that, they can try and prove me wrong, and if they can prove me wrong and still be going by this formula, then I'll consider changing it because I've never had this formula go wrong. Anyways, for your standard base system, you're going to need 300 watts. Now what's that going to be powering? It's going to be one processor, it's going to be 1 to 4 sticks of RAM, it's going to be one hard drive, it's going to be one optical drive. Now this doesn't have to be DVD, it can be Blu-ray, it can be CD, whatever, it's just got to be optical. And then of course one motherboard. There are some circumstances, more enthusiast motherboards will have up to 6 DIMMs of RAM, and of course some people will want to run more than one hard drive, but people like that probably already know that they're going to need extra power. And if you do have those things, I'm going to say let's make the base 350 watts, because for your standard user, this is what you're going to have, and you're not going to have more than that, so this is what you're going to need for that, and that's my base suggestion. Often you're going to find that most computers that are this requirement have 300 watts already. So now you want to add your discrete video card, and you probably going to need some extra power. So if you're going to add a video card, per video card, I'm going to say you need to add 100 watts. Now this is not per GPU, this is per video card. I'll explain that later. Per auxiliary power 6-pin power connector, which looks like this. It's an extra little power connector on the card that is there because your motherboard cannot supply all the power that the card needs. So you have to route a cable directly into the power or graphics card so that it can get the juice it needs. And then back to the formula, you see you need 150 extra watts if there's an 8-pin. So that 8-pin is going to look the same. It's just got an extra 2 pins on there. And that's going to be your wattages for those criteria. So let's go back to a video card like this HD 6770. Now this isn't the exact card we were looking at earlier, but it is the same model, it's the same GPU, so it's going to have the same power requirements. We scroll down here and we say that they recommend 400 watts on this video card. Now let's go ahead and notice that it does not need auxiliary power, therefore all the card's power is coming from the interface. So we say let's do the math. 300 watts. One video card, so adds 100 watts, that's 400 watts. That's exactly what they're suggesting. Now let's take it to the other extreme. Here's the NVIDIA big boy, the king of NVIDIA right now, the GTX 590. This card has dual GPUs in it. Now what that means is it's got 2 processing units, but it is a single card. So we're still going by this single card formula. We're not actually adding 2 cards because it is still one PCB. So we're going to take our little formula. We have 300 watts for our base. Now we have one video card, so that's going to make it another 100 for 400 watts now. Now we have the video card here has 2 8-pin 150 watt power supply plugs. So you have 2 of those. That's going to be 300 extra watts. 300 plus 400 is 700 watts. Let's go ahead and scroll down here. We see minimum of 700 watt power supply. Okay, so that formula obviously works in pretty much every situation. There's only a very few rare places you're going to find this won't be adequate. But if that is the case, normally you're going to find it means that it's a cheap power supply, which is what I advise against. So as long as you're getting a good quality power supply, this formula should never fail you. Alright, well thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and comment below if you want. If you have any questions, you can private message me and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can with the best answer I can get you. And as FPS Russia says, as always, have a nice day.